Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Certified Building Enclosure Commissioning Provider webinar. This is a new program that is being developed by IIBEC, the International Institute of Building Enclosure Consultants. As many of you may be familiar with our other professional registrations, such as the Registered Roof Consultant and Registered Roof Observer designations, this new program focuses on building enclosure commissioning and will be a personal certification in accordance with ISO 17024 accreditation standards. Also, please note, this program has not been finalized and the information provided today is preliminary and subject to change. This informational webinar is recorded and you are welcome to share with your colleagues. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to IIBEC staff. We've got a great team back in the office that can help out if you have any questions along the way with the application. And of course, we welcome your feedback and thoughts throughout this process. Slide. I'm delighted to be presenting today with my colleague, Emily Lorenz. Emily is a professional engineer and senior director of technical services for IIBEC. She is leading the good fight and charged with building enclosure issues, codes, and standards, and really representing our members to the fullest in those arenas. My name is Alex Jeffries. I am the Senior Director of Membership and Registrations. I've been with IIBEC for several years and I've just been delighted by the community and growth that I've seen with this organization. We're certainly in unprecedented times these days, but I can reassure you that IIBEC staff is working harder than ever to provide member benefits and services as seamless as possible to our membership. And we've also come out with a few new virtual benefits, which are being very well received from the community. Slide. So the vision for this new certification program, the Certified Building Enclosure Provider, is really a comprehensive building enclosure process. These are 6 general sections that provide a quick snapshot of some of the tasks and steps that could fall under the purview of a CBECxP. The owner project requirements, BECX plan, meeting facilitation, technical association, independent design and review, scope and budget. These are all things that would fall under the purview of a CBECxP. Slide. So, and as a quick overview, this is really intended to span all facets of the building enclosure commissioning process and not be limited to any specific building size or type. The goal of this program is really to set the bar for the industry and to qualify individuals that are knowledgeable about the complete building enclosure commissioning process. Slide. So much like our other IIBEC professional registrations, you may be familiar with the Registered Roof Consultant or Registered Exterior Wall Consultant designations. For this, just like those other ones, we want to make sure that the CBECxP applicant meets verifiable levels of work experience, education, ethical standards, and a satisfactory score on the examination. Typically, an approved application will have a shelf life of 2 years. This is still being discussed at the Building Enclosure Commissioning Committee level, but you're welcome to contact the IIBEC office to get an update with where we are and some of the more details of the application process. All of the details will be listed on the CBECxP handbook, which will be available this summer. We also encourage you to check with IIBEC during the next couple months to obtain the finalized handbook and application. IIBEC staff will also be reaching out to those individuals that attend this webinar and that have expressed interest through our website with this new program. So not to worry, we'll be in touch once this is all finalized and we've hit the finish line. Slide. So to get a little bit more into the details of the point structure for applicants, all applicants are required to have 4 years of building commissioning experience, have completed 70 hours of continuing education during the past 10 years, and show strong moral and ethical character through references. The application will have a point system, very similar to our other professional registrations, and there's a wide range of ways the applicant can meet the 100-point requirement. These points can be achieved by a variety of work experience, education, and professional designations already obtained. Slide. So under the work experience section, applicants must have points in a minimum of 3 separate service categories. And you'll see here at the top of this chart that there's several different service category groupings. And again, there needs to be a minimum of 3 separate service categories. The work experience, as you see, you can achieve all 100 points through work experience alone, or you can do it with a combination of education, which maxes out at 50 points, or professional certifications or designations that max out at 20 points. So there's a lot of different ways you can achieve the 100-point threshold using this chart here. Again, as you start going through this process and you have questions, please reach out to the IIBEC staff. We're happy to walk through this chart and summary of points section with you. There are definitely requirements for the tasks involved and how many different tasks you've listed as your work project submitted. So as you start working through the application, we're here for you. We're happy to help. Slide, please. So I'm going to turn it over to Emily now to talk a little bit about the different work experience categories that are included in this program.
Great, thanks, Alec. Yeah, there are 12 general categories in which applicants can submit work experience as part of their application. The first 6 categories are listed on this slide. Building enclosure surveys experience includes performing visual building enclosure conditioning assessments where the building enclosure is observed, identified, documented as compared with the construction documents and the owner's project requirements. In design review of contract documents experience, this relates to preparing contract documents, which could include bid documents, general conditions, technical specifications, commissioning plans, or sections and details. In the BECX provider category, you will have served as a BECX on a project and would have completed tasks such as documenting the owner's project requirements, drafting and communicating the commissioning requirements, developing the BECX plan, and the like. As part of the BECX team, your experience could include participation as a stakeholder in a BECX project. In this category, you may have had the role of an architect, a design subconsultant, a construction manager, a general contractor, subcontractor, or a manufacturer on the BECX team. In the observation and QA section, we're looking for examples of the applicant's experience during construction for the assurance of the quality of another's work. Finally, on this slide, forensic investigations, depositions, expert testimony experience may include site observations, field tests, laboratory tests and analysis, video and photographic documentation, and other procedures implemented in a standard investigation of a project that may go to litigation. The other 6 work experience categories include building enclosure investigation, which includes experience related to conducting non-destructive testing, such as infrared, nuclear, or capacitance surveys of various characteristics of the building envelope. This testing could be related to moisture, airtightness, thermal performance, or others. In the physical quantitative analysis testing area, we're looking for experience related to conducting ASTM testing for physical, qualitative, or quantitative analysis of building enclosure materials and systems. This could include hydrothermal analysis, whole building airtightness testing, material testing, energy modeling, and other procedures using scientific methods and procedures. If you've performed research during building commissioning projects in which new technology is developed or utilized, that would be included in the building enclosure science and research section. Written documentation must accompany this research to be valid, and it must be substantiated by a second party. Any articles, books, theses, or etc. related to building enclosure commissioning that you publish would be included in the BECX publication section. experience related to conducting lectures that emphasize the educational or technical nature of building enclosure commissioning, building science, or research findings is including under the educational lectures heading. And finally, the develop and execute a BECx program category of experience relates to when applicant was directly in a position of management or supervision regarding the implementation of a building enclosure commissioning plan or program. I'm going to turn it back over to Alec at this point.
Great, thank you, Emily. So to recap, when applying for this program, an applicant really needs to have 4 years of building enclosure commissioning experience. Just to kind of touch on the high points, a minimum of 10 projects, achieve the 100-point threshold as shown in the chart. Also, 70 hours of continuing education needs to be submitted, and this can span over the past 10 years. And lastly, 5 professional references will be required to be submitted. When the application is submitted to IIBEC, we will reach out to the references and coordinate with them to have them submit on your behalf. Slide. So to take a quick look at the CBECxP application timeline from start to finish, you are a prospective CBECxP individual. You are interested in achieving this new certification. What does the time frame look like? Well, from the time you submit your application, it usually takes 4 to 6 weeks for the total review process. Now, that really depends on how thorough the application is when it's initially submitted. I encourage all applicants to first reach out to IIBEC staff as you're completing the application. This will help with any delays in the application review process. We have a great team standing by, and as I've mentioned, they are always available to answer questions, particularly with the work experience and the point structure. Those sometimes need to fall in within strict guidelines of issues that relate to building enclosure commissioning. So we're happy to kind of give some guidance and best practices when applying in that section. Once your application is reviewed and approved, IIBEC will send your information to our testing center partners, and you will be eligible to schedule the exam at a testing center conveniently located near you. Our testing center partners have thousands of locations worldwide, and most likely in a city close to where you're located, you can go to the testing center and sit for the exam at your convenience. Slide. So here's a visual of the time frame. It starts with submitting the application, and again, before you submit the application, you're really encouraged to reach out with any questions. Once the exam is submitted, IIBEC staff will complete an initial review. We'll make sure all of the items are complete. We'll verify the documentations are correct, continuing educations are valid, make sure the references are confirmed, and also that the work history is reviewed. It's really important that again, the work history is relevant to this specific certification. The references, as I mentioned, will also automatically receive an email request when your application is submitted. Sometimes there are delays in receiving references, so we always encourage the applicant to reach out to the reference to encourage them to submit the recommendation as soon as possible to not delay the application review process. Once the application is reviewed and approved, IIBEC will reach out directly to the testing center. We will notify them that your application has been reviewed, and at that time, the testing center will coordinate directly with the applicant to schedule the exam. The exam results when you sit for the exam will be provided immediately. You'll know your score. If you have a passing score, it's fantastic. Our staff will be in touch. We'll mail you out a packet of information as well as your certification. If you fail the exam, you will have an opportunity to retest, and that just goes through a abbreviated application process, and we'll reschedule for you to test again. So all in all, 4 to 6 weeks is what we anticipate this application process will go for. We can obviously expedite this if there's less demand, but usually a thorough review will take in the 4 to 6 weeks process. Slide, please. All right, and a little bit more information on our testing centers. The exam will be offered by a computer-based testing company at a location conveniently located near you. Once your application is approved, you'll be coordinated directly with the testing center to schedule the exam. We anticipate the exam to take no longer than 4 hours. However, this time frame has not been finalized by the Building Enclosure Commissioning Task Force for this certification. And it's important that we say up front that this program is not 100% finished. So again, disclosure, please reach out to our office. We will provide you with the latest handbook and testing criteria prior to you sitting for the exam. Lastly, the timeframe for reviewing and approve the IIBEC Building Enclosure Commissioning will vary slightly after this is initially submitted and the program is approved, but we again anticipate 4 to 6 weeks. And the testing center is usually very quick with responding to the applicant once the application has been approved. So your application is approved, within 24 hours, IIBEC staff will provide your package to the testing center, and then they'll coordinate with you directly to schedule the exam. Slide, please. All right, so you're ready to sit for your exam. What's the next step? I'm going to hand it over to Emily, and she's going to review some best practices for test prep.
Thanks, Alec. So when you're getting ready to take the CBECxP exam, you'll want to keep in mind that the exam is not focused on any one particular area of building enclosure commissioning or to the design and construction practices in any one geographic area. The intent is for the exam to assess an applicant's knowledge of commissioning in general, and as indicated by the references that we have listed. It may also include all phases of the building enclosure commissioning process, which could include the project phases, pre-design, all the way through occupancy and operations. The references listed here are only some of the many that were used in the development of this exam. In this webinar, we're illustrating the types of references used in the development of the CBECxP program and examination. Applicants typically find that the most useful tool in preparation for the exam is the list of skills, knowledge, and responsibilities. It is recommended that the applicant review this information as it relates to one's experience and skill set, and then prepare accordingly with the courses or publications which will be most helpful to the individual. The breakdown of the tasks in each category and the naming of the task categories is not yet complete, but when it is, the applicant's study guide and handbook will include a breakdown of the percentages of questions in each category. The examination, as Alec already mentioned, is up to 4 hours in length and will consist most likely of 90 multiple choice questions. All right, Alec, you want to take us home?
Sure. So, you know, this is a new program, it's a new certification. It's important that as we raise the professional bar to the ISO 17024 accreditation level, that we're very upfront that IIBEC does not teach to a test. We also don't offer courses directly linked to the CBECxP examination. This new program is offered in strict conformity to ISO 17024 accreditation standards, and this is for an individual certification. The certification program must be conducted in a consistent, comparable, and reliable manner to meet accreditation standards by the American National Standards Institute, ANSI. A little bit of background, the American National Standards Institute is a private nonprofit organization whose mission it is to enhance U.S. global competitiveness by promoting, facilitating, and safeguarding the integrity of the standardization and conformity assessment systems. So what that means is ANSI is pretty much the official U.S. representative to the International Organization for Standardization, ISO, and IIBEC is going to be meeting and checking all of the boxes for this certification to meet those standards. And you know, the best recipe really for passing the CBECxP will be a mixture of education, work experience, and practical building enclosure commissioning application. It is recommended for candidates to have a well-rounded understanding of principles as they relate to the building enclosure commissioning process. Slide. So once the applicant passes the exam and becomes a certified building enclosure commissioning provider, there will be ongoing annual requirements to maintain the certification. An annual renewal fee will be required, and 12 continuing education hours will be submitted. These education hours will be self-reported through the IIBEC member database. And if you're not yet a member, we strongly encourage you to join. There'll be substantial member benefits and services and discounts throughout the entire CBECxP process. So the application fee, the exam registration fee, the annual renewal fee, all of that is substantially discounted for IIBEC members. So we certainly encourage you to join as a member first and reap the full benefits of membership. It's important also to note that IIBEC membership will provide substantial savings on all aspects of the CBECxP. And as I just mentioned, the benefits are really substantial when it comes to the long-term growth and development of you as a professional. So as you continue to take continuing education courses, as you renew this certification throughout the years, the savings will continue to grow and grow as a member. Slide. And just a quick word on the value. The CBECxP is really designed to raise the bar throughout the association and within the building enclosure commissioning world. IIBEC has allocated substantial resources not only to developing this program, but also towards positioning and advocating on behalf of credentialed CBECxP individuals. Our goal is to help position these individuals as the industry leaders in building enclosure commissioning. We have a fantastic marketing team, technical services team. We have an advocacy division, all that are unifying behind the CBECxP professional. And we look forward to welcoming the first wave of these credentialed individuals. Another point is that we anticipate the industry and exposure and marketability of the CBECxP individual to really take off. There has been a demand throughout the construction industry at large for knowledgeable building enclosure commissioning professionals, providers, folks that really know what they're talking about. And we are looking forward to launching this certification program to really elevate the bar, to qualify those individuals, and to share that with the industry at large. Slide, please. So just to wrap up, again, the CBECxP is not 100% complete as of the recording of this webinar. Finalizing the handbook and application. We hope to have these available for distribution during the next couple months. Please check the IIBEC website for updates and program information. IIBEC has also developed a list of several hundred prospective CBECxP applicants, and we're expecting, I would say anywhere from 150 to 300 applications during the first 6 months of this program rolling out. There's been an overwhelming level of interest in this new program, and the demand is certainly there, and we're looking forward to bringing this new certification to market. Also, I want to send a big thank you to all of the IIBEC members and subject matter experts that generously volunteered their time to develop this CBECxP program. We are really a stronger organization because of these individuals coming together and raising the professional bar. So thank you very much for your contributions to the development of this important CBECxP program. Again, please contact our staff, reach out, review our website. Updated information on this program, the application and handbook will all be posted as soon as possible. At this time, we're going to open up for questions. Please use your comment box to list any questions. You're also always welcome to contact IIBEC staff with feedback or thoughts. This program is a work in progress. We look forward to rolling it out, and you as the industry have a lot of involvement, and so we look forward to your participation. We look forward to you applying to this important program, and IIBEC staff is here to support you. Thank you so much for your time and attention, and we look forward to serving you in the future. Thank you.